What is up, guys? Csaba here from Game of Conversions, and I'm back with another Proven Sales Letter Breakdown video. So today we are on the 93rd edition, and it's so hard to keep track of these things, but I got a cool Gary Bencivenga ad for you, and it's about job hunting. So it's a topic that's a big pain point for a lot of people. You know, we've all been there, searching for a job, going to interviews, and getting rejected, not even getting a call back from or like a reply letter or something like that from the hiring manager or from the interviewer. So it sucks. It's a big problem. Okay, so when I found this ad, I immediately thought that, let's just see how Gary Bencivenga does it, how he sells the idea of getting better at interviews to people in the target audience, so people who are searching for a job. So remember, for this ad, the target audience is people who are basically looking for a job. They're probably going to interviews. This was published, I don't even know, maybe in 1994 or something like that. So it wasn't necessarily a recession. But as always, competition has been high for especially the best jobs. So the headline totally emphasizes this because it says, job hunting, how well can you answer these 64 toughest interview questions? So what stands out immediately? Well, it connects with people at the exact, let's just say, place and time where they are. So connects with them at the moment of, maybe getting ready for an interview or thinking about an interview or even hunting for a job or something like that, okay? And it's a big stress for a lot of people. So this connects with them. There's a saying in copywriting, I think it was Gene Schwartz who came up with this, that your job is to insert your conversation, your message into the conversation that's already happening in the prospect's mind, okay? So this is already happening in the prospect's mind in this case. They're thinking, oh my God, how am I going to be able to pass the interview? What am I going to say? How am I going to answer the questions? What are the questions that they're going to ask me? And then when they see something like this, how well can you answer these 46 toughest interview questions? They're like, damn, I got to find out, what are these, first of all? Do you make these mistakes in English? From the famous headline, for example. The word these is very powerful because it creates a lot of curiosity, but at the same time, 64 creates specificity, so it lends even more credibility and specificness. Let's just say it adds specificness to the whole idea of interview questions. And then we also have toughest interview questions, okay? So, oh my, I gotta find out what are the 64 toughest interview questions. Imagine what the target audience is thinking. If I discover the secret, if I discover the answers to the 64 toughest interview questions, I mean, I have a very high chance of passing the interview, right? Because 64, they're not going to ask me 64, and these are the toughest questions, so it means I'm set, right? So that's why the headline works really, really well. And look at this. It was written, actually published also by Gary Bencivenga, so it was probably one of his own products, because he had his own products as well. So by the way, before we get started, this is actually a problem solution lead. What this means is that you're describing a problem briefly and then giving people a potential solution up front, okay? And it goes like this. It's a war out there. Competition for executive job openings has grown so fierce that a single help wanted ad in a major newspaper can pull in 1,000 to 2,000 resumes. That's up to 7 full-size mail sacks stuffed with resumes from a single ad. So immediately, notice what's happening here. First of all, we meet them where they're at, right? It's a war going out there. So remember when I said the target audience for this, they're already thinking about this stuff. They're already warm to the problem. They know the problem. They know that they got to get a job and that interviewing is tough. It's stressful and it's complicated. And sometimes it feels like you don't have control at all. So whenever you can sell people the perceived the perceived chance of control in a situation like this, that's a very strong value proposition. So then we get exposed to the problem itself. That competition is super fierce, 1,000 to 2,000 resumes per post. And then I like how he also dimensionalizes it, because 1,000 to 2,000 resumes, it's hard to figure out, right? But he also says, that's up to 7 full-size mail sacks stuffed with resumes. So then you can imagine, wow, 7 full-size mail sacks. That's a lot of mail sacks stuffed from a single ad. So then we agitate the problem a little bit more, because this is basically the problem agitation solution framework. He says, faced with this oversupply of applicants, hiring companies have grown extremely picky. They're interviewing scores of candidates before deciding. And to whittle down the list, they're asking tougher questions than ever. So at this point, the target audience, or the person who's reading this, they're feeling like, yes, I can definitely connect to this, I can relate to this, I felt it. Maybe if he's been or she's been on an interview before, but also it makes logical sense, right? And she or he is starting to feel this little pressure inside of them, inside their stomach. They're starting to feel anxiety. That's what you want, because that's what you can release from them by introducing the solution, and then building a lot of desire for that solution, showing how it's the solution for them. So then comes the solution part, which says, what kind of questions and what are your best ways to answer? Well, that's the subject of a riveting new report, How to Answer the 64 Toughest Interview Questions. So we ask a few philosophical questions and then we reveal the product upfront. We don't give a price yet or something like that, but reveal it. And then we got a little overview of the product itself. So the ad says, privately published and not available in bookstores, this quick reading report can give you an enormous edge if you're job hunting. So immediately we can see there's an exclusivity angle that's going on here. This gives you edge against others, and it's not available anywhere else. So that means if you get this, the other applicants, they're not gonna get it. So it's definitely worth it for you to get it, because then you'll be in like a category of one. And it's quick reading as well, which basically means that you can quickly get ready for your interview that might be happening tomorrow or something. And it gives you an enormous edge if you're job hunting. So this is the main benefit, to give people an edge when it comes to this. And they want the edge because they know, like, we've painted the picture of the problem. We said that, there's a lot of people applying for these positions. So any type of edge is definitely something desirable here. So then the ad continues. It's based on extensive research with hiring executives, recruiters, outplacement officers, and other experts on how to get hired. It even incorporates the results of videotaped studies conducted through two-way mirrors by placement services and leading universities. Pretty interesting, right? This kind of also acts like the unique selling proposition here, showing how this product is unique in itself, because there's no other product that has this information. First of all, this is not available anywhere else, so that already puts it in a category of one. But also, probably this is the only one which is based on real research and based on placement officer research and studies conducted by leading universities. And it even says these studies have actually identified what the most successful job candidates do differently than others to win more job offers. Pretty interesting, right? I want to be the most successful job candidate. I got to find out, what are these questions and what are the answers to them? Because then I'm going to be super ready for this interview. And think about it for a minute. If you've ever applied for a job before in your life, wouldn't you have liked something like this? Because I sure have. When I applied to some jobs a few years ago, and I got rejected. I didn't even get rejected. They just ignored me. But I always felt like I gotta find out what are the questions that they're gonna ask, and how can I prepare in advance to answer those questions, right? Without being robotic or boring or something like that. Apparently, I didn't do a good enough job, but that's why this product is there to find people in this delicate emotional state and give them an opportunity to, have an edge. Because how many people do you think of these 1,000 to 2,000 buy something like this to specifically get ready for an interview? Well, not many. So there you have it. Buying the product itself is kind of like a solution. And now that I mention it, I want to buy something like this, even though I don't interview anymore, but like I still am super interested in what could be there, because I remember it was a super stressful thing. So the end result is that, oh my God, I want to know what this whole thing is about, because it says, of greatest value, the report reveals the answers that hiring executives love to hear, answers that make them want to hire one candidate above others. Well, that's what you want. So then we get a little glimpse of what are the questions inside. So the headline mentions 64 different questions, so we got like 10 of them listed, right? Because you want to give away a little bit of value. You want to give away a little steak along with some sizzle, so that people actually start wanting the rest of the content as well, right? But notice how, and Gary Bencivenga definitely was an advocate of this, to make your advertisement itself valuable, because the more you do it, the more people will read it, and the more they read, the more likely they are to convert, because they are spending more time with you. They're investing time and energy and attention in you. So then it would be a cognitive bias and it would be basically a sunk cost fallacy type of cognitive bias to abandon the process of buying. And it makes a huge difference. Like Dan Kennedy always says that if you want to raise your conversion rates, just double the length of your sales letter in most cases. And even in this case, like I felt that it's really good. However, if it was like 3 times longer, I bet it would convert even better. But like obviously, since this is a newspaper ad, they were space constraints. So there's only so much that Gary was able to fit in here, and he basically decided that having more fascinations and describing more questions definitely was more viable than doing, I don't know, more sophisticated price drops in the closing section or something like that. So nowadays we have it easy with online sales pages. You can basically make it as long as you want or as short as you want. But back then, in the days of direct mail and print media and stuff like that, it was way harder, because you had to make every single word count here. And that's why in a lot of cases you have way better copy in those days, because people really had to work for it, and it wasn't so easy to split test any single word or something like that. And you had to pay real money and good money to like pay for the ad, for the placement in advance, and then eventually see some results, right? But it was worth it if you hired a great copywriter. So we can already see that we're gonna see very interesting questions that probably get asked in most interview situations. For example, why should I hire you? This is super common. And Gary even says, every interviewer wants the right answer to this question. The report tells how to give it, a little known, extremely effective strategy for positioning yourself as the number one candidate. Or where can you use some improvement? And then we also have a little explanation that says most candidates think the smart answer is to disguise a virtue as a flaw, as in, sometimes I push my people too hard. But savvy interviewers see right through this little ploy. The report reveals a much better way to answer. And then we have some other questions without the explanation. For example, aren't you overqualified? Or why have you been out of work for so long? Or describe a time when your work was criticized. Or name 2 weak points of your previous boss. Beware a trap. So these are kind of fascinations, but they're not really the value or like the desire plus curiosity type of bullets. They're more like little teasers of what's inside the book. And Gary didn't really have to overdo these, because the questions themselves give value to people, because they're like, yes, these sound like logical questions that somebody's going to ask me. So now I want to figure out the 54 other questions, because these are just random assortments of it. And then obviously you also get the answers from the book. There's a little curiosity element at the end of some of them. Like, the report reveals a much better way to answer, or like, what to say, what not to say. For example, the last one says, tell me about something you did in your life that makes you feel ashamed. And then the little explanation says, you feel like answering none of your business, but don't. The right answering strategy preserves your privacy, charms your interviewer, and earns his or her respect at the same time. So one thing that could have made this better is to say, more details on page 54 or something. We've seen those newer type of fascinations from boardroom megalogs, for example, those type of fascinations that Mel Martin invented, and also, people at boardroom. They're super powerful at creating even more desire and curiosity for this. So then we get a little contrasting element that says there are dozens more. All can easily be turned to your advantage if you know how. Blow any of them, and you could lose out on a dream job. So notice how this is contrasting the element. Like, yes, you can try this on your own, but if you make just one mistake, you could lose the dream job. And you could, right? I mean, it makes sense. You could lose. But if you're super qualified and if you're super prepared for this, then you're going to ace the interview. Basically, that's the promise here. One thing I'm missing here is some proof here, so testimonials or something like that in this space ad. But again, notice how Gary was definitely constrained by the space requirements of this newspaper ad. So probably he felt more important to include more desire building elements compared to proof elements like testimonials or social proof or something like that. So basically from here on out, we have even more benefits like, what you'll get and how your life is going to look like. And we have some future pacing as well, because yes, ultimately people want the answers to these questions, but it's not what they really want. The thing that they really want is more confidence on the interview. They want access to the best jobs. They, like for example, notice how he says it. The report tells you how to answer them all masterfully, naturally, and in your own words, so your answers don't sound too canned. As a result, and here's the benefits of the benefits, you'll walk into any interview feeling much better prepared, more confident. Because that's what people ultimately want. They want more confidence. They want to enter an interview situation with more control. And you'll inevitably make a stronger impression. Indeed, having this report is like having the answers before you take the final exam, right? It's a cheat sheet. It's something that makes your life easier, that gives you a shortcut. And that's what people want. They want the insider information, the cheat sheet, the secret, the shortcut, the exam answers before they even take the exam. That's what they want. This is as almost like done for you, almost. So then we have a little call to action saying that, hey, you can buy it for $50 by calling an 800 number. And then we get a lot of bonuses. So this promotion is very heavy on desire building elements, describing the desire building aspects of the product itself and the bonuses, because we have 5 bonuses. Notice 5 bonuses, like almost half of the entire promotion is made up of the bonus section. It's crazy, but I think it builds a lot of desire and people need it, because all these bonuses, they're related to the main product itself, and they really make, it really makes you feel like, if I have this, this is a total package. So if I have this, there's no way I'm going to fail, I don't know, maybe 1 interview out of 3 or something. But apart from that, there's no way I don't get a job in the next 1 month or something, and a job that I want. So before actually introducing the bonuses, Gary says, 5 additional free bonuses, and he says, readers of Kiplinger's Personal Finance who respond immediately will. And this basically, probably the newspaper in which this was published, it's called Kiplinger's Personal Finance. And this just qualifies people a little bit, and it makes them feel like they're part of an exclusive club, because they're probably paying for this publication, and they feel like, something connects all the readers that are reading this publication. And Gary knows this, and he highlights this so that people feel like, oh, I am part of this, and wow, now I receive 5 bonuses just because I'm a part of this. What a nice gesture, and I feel more important, and I feel more, taken care of a little bit, and it's powerful. So the first bonus relates to the main product very heavily. It's called Interviews That Win Jobs. And Gary even says, this free bonus report currently selling nationally for $50 reveals. So immediately we get a glimpse at, if you buy this for $50, you're getting another product that's worth $50. So you're already like getting double the value. And then we have some true fascinations of what's inside the product. For example, 11 ways to get interviewers to like you, how to make yourself 3 times more likely to get hired, worst times to schedule an interview, odds of getting hired are very low, the 25 biggest interview turnoffs. Wow, interesting. Mistake made by 90% of those fired from a prior job. It can guarantee you won't be hired again soon. Wow, I gotta read that. I don't want to make that mistake because then, nobody's gonna hire me. And there are a lot of people who have been fired before. So all these fascinations, they're building desire for the bonus itself, and then they're also building desire for the main product itself, because there are going to be people who buy this whole package just because of a single bonus. So then eventually we get even more fascinations here in paragraph form. And then we have the second bonus, red hot cover letters. Ooh, interesting, because think about it, the main product and the first bonus, they cover interviews, but as part of the interviewing process, you also have to submit a cover letter. And most people are terrible writers and they have no idea what to write in this cover letter, right? So like even as a copywriter, sometimes we are terrified of writing a cover letter or something like this. Like, what do you put in there? How can, a lot of things there. And then including a bonus that says, red hot cover letters that generate 50% to 100% more interviews. Little known formula, works like a charm. Many examples. So again, this is just like a cover letter step-by-step formula or swipe or something like that. Even in copywriting products, you see this all the time. I have a product, for example, called the 7-Day Rainmaker email sequence, and it's basically a plug and play email template pack that you can customize in a few minutes and then send it out and generate sales immediately. So it uses the same thing here. All the emails are basically 90% pre-written for people, and they work. And it's like a 7-day email sequence made up of 8 emails. Again, it's the same thing here. It's a formula that works, and people have to put in very, very little work for it. By the way, if you want to check it out, I'm going to leave a link in the description section, along with all the other proven sales letter breakdown videos. But make sure to check out the 7-Day Rainmaker email sequence if you have an email list, if you're emailing people, because it's a very short, it's a very simple, inexpensive type of product, but I think it works incredibly well. And if you want to send out a sales sequence or something like that to generate cash ASAP, it might help you. So free bonus number 3 that Gary's mentioning here is to get a job now. Probably the fastest, most effective plan ever devised for getting a job now. So yeah, this is for hyper-responsive people. This is for people who want it now. And even if you just highlight how it's now, a lot of people will want it just because of that. And then free bonus number 4, super important, negotiate your best compensation package. Ways to make yourself more desirable and boost your compensation by up to 25 to 50% or more. Or check this out, the diplomat's secret for winning more in any negotiation. Ooh, I want to find it. Diplomats are good negotiators. How to make your bargaining position stronger even if you're out of work. Nice little objection handling, right? Oh, but Gary, I'm out of work, so I cannot negotiate. I have to take anything I can get, right? No. Here, just use this in the book that you get for free. In the bonus that you get for free when you buy the main product, and you'll be all good. So, this is a very strong bonus in my opinion, because most people are super afraid of negotiation, and any little help or almost plug and play type of solution that you can do for them, that you can help them with, is going to be perceived as very valuable. And then the final bonus, the greatest job finding secret. So powerful, this strategy generated multiple job offers even in the Great Depression. This one simple secret instantly puts you among the most successful of all job seekers. So basically it gives you an edge, right? So all in all, powerful bonuses, and they're relevant because they complement the main product really well. Then we have call to action number 2 plus ordering instructions. So again, very simple. Have we seen better type of closing copy? Of course we have, right? John Carlton's style, or a lot of other magalogs that we've seen, or other more modern type of sales letters, or maybe even Gary Halbert in some cases. He uses better, more powerful call to actions, but here Gary Bencivenga was limited by space, so he chose not to pump this up, but instead pump this part up, and it probably worked out really well. And we can just call ourselves lucky that today we don't have to make these types of sacrifices, because we can use the internet, we can make it as long or short as we want. So yeah, we have the call to action plus ordering instructions. We have an alternative ordering instruction. You can also mail a check. It's easier to order with an 800 number. And then we have a money back guarantee as well. This is always mandatory because it's just scientifically proven that it increases sales a lot. 1 year full money back guarantee for any reason, no quibbles. These strategies must work or you pay nothing. So think about it. A lot of people, eventually they will get a job with this, and then they're gonna be happy. They're not going to ask for a refund. But if they, I don't know, they mess up all their interviews for months and months, then they probably do. But probably these work. Like, imagine how many people are so deliberate and conscientious that they go through 64 of the toughest interview questions while also devising answers for them, and they go in so prepared. Like, if you're the type of person, you're gonna get hired, because most people are slobs, and you cannot trust them with anything, and hiring managers know this. And if you just if you're this type of person, you're gonna get hired because you're already way above others, your competition. Most people are your competition. It's just like John Carlton's pro code that we covered a few times before here, and it's if you can do that, you're already way above your competition. So hope you enjoyed this, guys. I sure did. If you did, then smash the like button so that the video gets some love and YouTube's algorithm gives it more juice. And if you're new to the channel, then definitely subscribe. There's a lot of great stuff on the channel, a lot of great sales letter breakdowns that you can watch. I'm going to leave a link to that as well. And then share this with others. Like, there's not many analysis videos that break down Gary Bencivenga stuff or other star copywriter stuff, especially for free on YouTube. So if you have a friend or someone like that who's interested in these things, then definitely make sure to share the video with them. Everyone's gonna appreciate it. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one.